setting up right now. Welcome to Gotta Ask, hosted by Ray Brownlee. This is a presentation of Ump Life, the premier provider of customized umpire accessories and unique game use amenities. Tonight's guest is Jim Kirk, the president of umpatire.com. Please type your questions in the chat box below and we'll get them to Jim as soon as we can. This video will be posted to the Ump Life page after tonight's show for viewing. Keep in mind, this feed is about 30 to 40 seconds behind what you are seeing. I'll now turn it over to Ray Brownlee.
Thanks, Tommy. Hi, everybody. Ray from Ump Life. Got a really nice guest tonight. One of the leading people in the industry for all kinds of sports officials. Full disclosure, I am a supplier to umpatire.com, but Jim Kirk is also my friend. Want to welcome Jim Kirk.
Hey, Ray, how we doing? And who was that? Was that God speaking? If you got God on your side, Ray, we need some of that. Who was that?
Wasn't me.
Huh? Who was that in the introduction?
Oh, that's Tommy Owens. He's one of the admin guys, and
hey, Tommy.
He's the executive producer.
Awesome. Really, Tommy, nice to chat with you before this and help us get started. This is the first Zoom video I did. I tell you what, Ray, I watched the video you did with Greg Gibson, and I tell you what, this is going to be a hard act to follow for sure. I thought that was an excellent video. Greg's a great guy. You know, Greg's from Kentucky, so you know you've done 2 Kentucky guys in a row.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to definitely appreciate that. But you know, you've got that little thing on the screen there. If you're watching, you can see people, you know, jumping on and they get up. And sometimes, you know, if someone's going to bomb, it goes down really far.
Yeah.
But last night I noticed Greg went up, and it just stayed up. So there's going to be a hard act to follow, I think, tonight to get people to stay up. What do you think? Can we do it?
I think you'll be fine.
I think so.
Yeah, Gibby was a great first guest. Just a lot of people got to see the man instead of the number. So that's what we want to do. It's about getting people to know, well, we're going to talk about the industry, what you do, and then we're going to talk about you, the man, and the family guy. So, and then we're going to get some questions.
He's a class act.
Oh, yeah.
And he's very down to earth. I was very fortunate. He stopped by my office about 1.5 years ago. His son actually worked for me in the warehouse. His son was a student at the University of Louisville. And so he came down to visit his son, and I got the opportunity to sit down and talk with him for a while, just like you did last night. And we just it was just one of the best conversations. And it's no wonder that people think about him the way they do.
Well,
so
what I find about
the video with him last night, I really enjoyed it. And if people are tuning in and watching our video tonight, I highly encourage you, if you haven't seen that video, to go back and watch it. Don't do it now. I mean, it probably will be better to watch Greg's than mine, but you know, wait till later and go back and watch it. But it was really good. I wanted to share that with you first.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So tonight I'm actually wearing a plate coat because I'm not probably going to get to wear it this year. So I thought, you know what, you're going to be my second guest. I thought I'm going to play the part. I'm going to put the plate coat on.
There you go.
And apparently Tommy, the crack producer, is wearing an El Becco.
Well, let's get him on here. So you can see the El Becco shirt. Let's just get him in there for the El Becco.
There he is.
There he is. That's what I wore. You know, that's the other thing too is, you know, the other thing you did to me is you've got me centered right in between Greg Gibson, right, World Series umpire.
Yep.
Many years, and then Jansen Visconti, who got the newly hired this year. Of course, hasn't got a chance to work as a full-time umpire. You've got me smack dab in the middle of those guys, and I have like this much umpiring experience. And so I may actually be the one person that has the least umpiring experience of anyone you ever bring on here. So
well, let's go there.
We'll talk about that.
Let's go there right now.
Okay.
Tell me about your umpiring experience.
Well, that's why I brought it up now, because Tommy came in with his El Becco shirt.
Yep.
So I umpired back in the El Becco shirt days, right? And so I umpired in the same way that a lot of people did, right? I graduated from college. I needed some extra money. My wife and I had just gotten married. She was still in college. And so, you know, we just really, you know, didn't have a whole lot of money to make ends meet. And so I thought, what can I do? I'd played baseball in college. And so I knew enough of baseball. I thought, well, shoot, I can umpire some baseball. I can umpire some high school baseball. So I got in touch with the local assigner and got set up to do high school baseball in Southeast Kentucky. All right. And that's where I actually played at. And so I umpired for 2 years. let's see, I think I was 23 and 24. So I was pretty young. I'm 49 now. So it's been over 25 years since I've umpired. But I did it for 2 years. And I really, there were two things that stuck out to me that I remember from those days. One was gear related. One was mental related. The one thing I recall is when I played baseball in high school and in college, I was really good. I'm not saying here to brag, but I'm getting ready to make a point. I was really good. So it felt like I didn't do a lot of stuff wrong, right? You know where I'm going with this. Didn't really do a lot of stuff wrong as a player, had a lot of good success. And then I become an umpire. And I go out. I remember my first year, I was definitely shaky my first year. I felt like my strike zone was pretty good because I was a pretty good hitter. And I kind of felt like my strike zone was probably for a rookie umpire wasn't too shabby.
Sure.
But it took me a while to find my rhythm, find my timing. But by year two, I thought I was pretty decent. And I actually got one playoff game, and it was the big district rivals. And I killed it. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it was my best game, the best game I'd ever done. And I knew it. And I knew I just felt like I had just one of those games you felt like you did everything right.
Right.
I got yelled at the entire game, right? And off the field, you get, you're getting sort of harassed, and you're getting, told, Ben, you did a great job, way to help us out tonight, those kind of things, right? And I just remember walking off the field, I was so dejected. I thought, but I did such a great job, And so no one really told me, no one really shared. I had a really great assigner. I really liked him, but there was nothing that really ever shared to tell me that mental side of like, this is what you're going to expect. This is what you're going to feel like. And so that really stuck with me, that, being an umpire is you're not going to always satisfy everyone. You might make as many, 50% is the most you can make happy, right? So
Sure.
That was one thing that really set with me. So how were some of your experiences, Ray, with when you first started umpiring? Did you have some similar things like that?
I was kind of different. I when I started umpiring, I was probably 14, and
Okay.
I was playing above my age as a player and umpiring below my age. And then when I got to senior baseball, I was umpiring in one senior league and playing in another senior league. So I've always, even when I was a player, or when I became an umpire, I thought like a player. So thinking of what could happen next for an umpire has to be always thinking what could happen next. So
Right.
that's given me an advantage.
Yeah.
And I talked to a good friend of mine, Lisa Turbot, about that yesterday.
Right. Okay.
And I mean, she's got a baseball resume for an umpire as
Right.
good as anybody on the planet. And I've always been umpiring and always been a player. And
Right.
even now, I think I could go back to that league in DH. So I love playing.
Right.
I love coaching. I love
Yeah.
managing. And
Right. And I felt the same way. I felt
went
like
home-
I had really
I
enjoyed
went home
that.
tired as a player,
Right.
coach, and manager. I go home exhausted as an umpire.
I see. That's a
That's
good
the
point.
difference. When you're an
Right.
umpire,
Yeah.
you're always on your feet.
Right.
You're always watching the ball, and you don't get to switch every half inning.
Yeah.
Always working.
Good point. That's a good point.
So that's why umpiring is.
Well, I tell you what, I know we've got some people that are on watching. You shared that you were what, 14? You said when you started?
Yeah, 14.
I started when I was 23. I'd love to see some comments on, you could just, throw them in there as we talk. How old were you when you started officiating? So you guys comment in there. I'm curious to see how many comments we get, and we'll go there. The second thing I learned that I took away from my early days of my little 2 years of experience umpiring high school baseball was how important the gear was. Okay, so here's my story, right? So year one, okay, I remember being given a Hornings catalog, right? So that was back in the day where I think there was Hornings and Plus Pause. Of course, I didn't know all that much back then as far as the gear and appeal side. We're talking 25 years ago, right? Yeah. So I was given a Hornings catalog, and I recall that I got some things from there. I think it was maybe one of those El Becco shirts and a couple of accessories. I think I shared with you all earlier how one of the things I had gotten was a wallet, right? And it was a wallet just like, similar, not really similar to the ones you have. It's probably terribly disrespectful to say that because yours are so high quality, but it was a vinyl card. It was a vinyl wallet, and it had one of those clips, right? And it was, you pressed it down, and it was metal, and it got rusty early on because I sweated like crazy all the time. And so So that was yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
And I had one of those, but from a gear perspective, I think I didn't really like what they had gear wise. And someone clued me into a local sporting goods stores. It was in London, Kentucky, a place called Lowe's Sporting Goods that I don't think is even there anymore. Lowe's, just like Lowe's, the hardware store, but it was called Lowe's Sporting Goods. And I found this chest protector that I thought I had found the holy grail of chest protectors. You know how you guys always find these things like old Power Rydell chest protectors on eBay or whatever, and people will pay big bucks for that with that design. Well, I thought I found like the perfect chest protector. Okay, it was blue. I like blue. I'm wearing blue tonight, and it was thin. I put it on. It was comfortable. I almost didn't look like I was wearing anything at all. And so I wore that year one, had no problems. I took a few hits, never had a problem at all. Year two, I took a hit that I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe it was just in one of those things, just the right place. I don't want to say, I might have to lean up a little bit. I remember it was about right here. Okay. I took this hit and it just collapsed me.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I just felt just like, oh my gosh, like it just almost felt like the whole life had taken out of me. While I'm talking, anybody here who's had that same experience before, where they've worn something that a chest protector they thought was protective, but they took a shot. I'd love to hear your story and comment on that here. But I took that shot, and immediately the first rational thought I had was, this chest protector is not protective enough for me. Okay.
Sure.
So even though I only had a couple of years experience, and definitely do not want to get on here and say that I have all this knowledge, and most of the knowledge I get is from umpires anyway. It's not from my 2 years doing that, but I really remembered that, and that really affected me, especially in how I carry myself in the business. I tend to be kind of overprotective and kind of fatherly almost, right? So I've got two kids, and when I was in college, my nickname was Papa, because I kind of looked out after people, right? That just kind of was just my nature. So everybody called me Papa. Nobody knows that that's a double secret probation type of a secret there that no one, I don't think now at the office even know that. And hopefully they're not all tuning in, and I'm going to get grief from that tomorrow. But so I tend to, suggest things that are protective. I don't like suggesting something that I know that someone's going to get hurt. And so at least, even though I don't have a lot of experience, that's a takeaway that I think has really helped me shape the vision that we have at umpattire.com.
Okay, so staying on that equipment, but let's go back to umpattire.com. After college, you've got a degree. What's happening next in your life?
Well, I'll tell you what, and I don't want to get into too long of a story, but umpattire.com was sort of my third career. When I graduated college, I had a psychology degree, right? That was my degree. How did that happen? Psychology degree all the way to umpattire.com. But I was a counselor for 7 years for the state of Kentucky. I worked with individuals with disabilities. And what my job was to do was to take them, and maybe it was someone who had a back injury and they couldn't do their construction job anymore. I would help them find a job that they could do, or a job, their career they were interested in, and help them along the way to get there. Maybe someone had a back injury and then they wanted to be a teacher. And we worked with them for 4 years as a counselor to help them do that, right? So I had this vision that I was going to be a family and marriage counselor, okay? So how about that? You guys are all still, I know people are still listening because they want to hear what the rest of this story is going to be and how this all happened, right? And so while I was doing the counseling, I kind of stuck out within our department, and they kind of picked me to do TQM training. I bet you, Ray, know what TQM is, right?
No.
On the spot. TQM, total quality management.
Okay.
Right. So it was kind of the thing at the time that a lot of companies across the country were doing TQM. It was a Japanese thing, right? How to improve businesses and how to improve factories and all that. So they had this big idea that they were going to try to do TQM with state government. And so I was trained in TQM to train our department on how to implement TQM in state government. Well, my eyes opened up. I had worked with a lot of people throughout the years and helping them. And I thought, business is what I like. that I just really kind of fell in love with it. And I went back and I started working on a master's in business administration. And while I was working on the MBA, there was a class that started talking about web design. So now we're talking about the year, I'm trying to think, 1998 or 1999. So I'm working on the MBA, and there's a class that is talking about information systems and this next new thing called the internet. Okay. So now we're kind of seeing where each step goes along. And I said, that's the business direction I'm going in. So when I was interested in business, it was very general. I didn't know what I would end up doing when I finished my MBA degree, which I ended up not quite finishing. That's a whole other story. But I don't want to get out there and say that I finished that. But the reason I didn't finish it was I started doing website work for companies. And I swear I'm getting close to this answer. I started doing websites for companies. And there was a story in the paper about a lady who was making ball bags for the National Softball Association. And she was wanting to do more online and do more worldwide. And that company was called Umpatire. And that lady's name was Beulah Hester. Okay. So I cold called Beulah Hester and I said, I can help you. I know how to do e-commerce. I know how to do web design. I used to umpire. I love baseball. I love sports. I am your guy. I can help you. And so in 2002, I started working with Umpatire and help them improve their business. I ended up redoing their website and helped implement some things throughout the business and got to know the business really well. The company started growing to the point that Beulah said, would you ever be interested in buying this? So her and I thought, wow, what an opportunity. It was back when, some of the companies that had been strong, I mentioned Hornings when I had wore that Elbeco shirt back in 1993 and 94, they were still a company but they weren't doing a lot online. And I saw the potential. I just saw the potential there for doing this the right way, kind of taking an Amazon.com approach to umpire and referee gear and also the other sports too. And so, anyway, I ended up buying umpatire.com in 2006. So wow. That's how the progression all happened. And so, what I find really interesting is that a lot of the, things that I learned along the way, whether it's psychology or my counseling, has really helped me working with staff and growing staff, and things along those lines. So, that's my long story about how umpatire.com got started and how all that happened. How about that? Did you even know that? Bet you didn't even know that, did you? That whole thing.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Talked a little bit about that.
But the audience, all the members, everyone else doesn't know. Right. So I think that's a good way to figure out how you got into this.
Right. So tomorrow, I'll share with you tomorrow. It's very interesting that we're having this interview tonight because tomorrow is our 14th anniversary. Wow. So we started Umpatire. I bought umpatire.com in 2006 on April 17th. We moved the inventory over at that time. So it's been 14 years and it's been a great run, and it's been something that I've kind of fallen in love with, over time, where this group that I found out, as I told you earlier, that I couldn't satisfy the people behind us, right? The fans when I was an umpire.
Right.
And I kind of knew what that felt like. I knew that this was sort of a group that people didn't really have a lot of love for, right?
Yeah.
Right. There was not a lot of love for umpires, not a lot of love for referees. And so what I decided to do is, take those takeaways from my few short years of umpiring and apply that, the gear knowledge, and then also the idea that I wanted to help the people that people didn't really care that much about. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 100%. So let's change gears.
Okay.
So you've had 14 years tomorrow, growth on growth. I've been supplying you guys for 4 years now, and because of your ability to distribute product, you've also helped my business tremendously. And a lot of people don't know this from me. You were the only person I was ever going to deal with because I liked the message. I liked the community aspect of what you guys do at Umpatire. And
I appreciate you saying that.
Getting to meet you guys and the staff. I came down there, Sandra and I had a great time. And it's like, for example, this spring, when I got back from Florida, I was absolutely 2 weeks behind. Every week I was 2 weeks behind. And I talked to you on the phone about this. You were having a great spring. The staff were busy, everything's flying out the door. And literally the virus hits March 11th and everything seems to stop. And we've talked about this, and we know the state of the industry. And I want people to hear how you feel, what's going on, like how it is for you as a #1 website guy on the planet. How's Umpire, you and your family doing?
Well, so you're asking about, since everything hit with the coronavirus and all that, right? Specifically, you're asking about that and how we've been affected by that. It's been tough. That's been the first word I can think of is just tough. And, but it's been tough on our staff. But it's also been tough on our competitors, people that we compete with. It's been tough on our suppliers. Every supplier I've talked to has been affected by this. And I tell you what, I feel very fortunate that we're a retailer, not a manufacturer. So let's talk about some manufacturers, right? So here are manufacturers, bigger manufacturers: Wilson, New Balance, All Star, Champro,
Diamond,
3-2, Smitty. Okay, now they're going to get hit double from this. We're taking a hit from a retail standpoint, right? No one has any games, right? So there's not this impetus to buy things. There's not money being made, and I know how it is when you make money as an umpire. Then you feel like I want to look my best, and I'm doing a lot of games. So I'm going to upgrade a mask, or I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to get an Ump Life accessory, and I'm going to upgrade my chest protector and those type things, right? And I understand people aren't working any games, and so from a retail perspective, our business has been affected heavily. I mean, it's been pretty drastic. It's been over 80% sales drop down for us, and I don't really mind saying that because I think our competitors all have had the same type of hit. Okay. And so, I'll just, share the insight on that. I'm kind of surprised whether or not, people are surprised by that. You feel free to chime in your thoughts on that too, but it's been an over 80% hit to our retail side. And that's what's so frustrating about that is right before it hit, we were having the best year we'd ever had.
Yeah.
We were having and everything was just the way that I wanted it, right? Our staff was killing it. We've had this great staff. We all work well together. You've been down there. You've seen the culture that we try to have. We really care about what we do. We really look out for each other. My staff looks out for me, and it's just like we just kind of had everything clicking, right? So we're almost at the 14-year point, right? And the bottom just drops out, right? Or the rug just gets pulled out from underneath us. And so that's kind of a you can almost we had like 1 minute to say success. We made it. We got where we wanted to get to. And then it changed. And so we've had to deal with that, internally. But as a retailer, we're insulated a little bit because we don't have what the manufacturers are dealing with. So let me explain what the manufacturers are dealing with. I really want people to hear this. So the New Balances and the Wilsons and the Smitties and the 3-2s and any other company you bought things from. And if you're listening in, want to comment and share what a brand that you like or a brand you care about. We know Ump Life is going to be one of them, but maybe somebody else besides Ump Life, chime in. Tell me who it is that what brand you trust that's a manufacturer, or what brand you tend to buy. But here's what's happening to them, Ray, is retailers, and I'm not talking about just us, right? Just think about New Balance, for example, right? It's not just officiating retailers that buy from New Balance, right? It's also, every running store, in every city, right, who buy New Balance running shoes. Or every tennis shop that carries New Balance tennis shoes, and or New Balance cleats for football, or New Balance cleats for baseball, especially for baseball, right?
Yep.
And so people aren't buying those right now, especially, at least not in the numbers that they were before. So if we're down at least 80% plus, we know that other people are down somewhere in that same category, other sporting goods retailers. And so because those things aren't selling, people don't have the money to pay for the inventory that they had already brought in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for us, we know how it is. Where our busiest month is always March. So usually for us, February is the month we have the most inventory. So we brought the most stuff in an inventory with the idea we need to have enough of it to sell over the next several months. And then that from that money, we'll be able to pay our retailers who usually give us 30, 60, 90-day terms, whatever. And so same things, these other companies that were relying on being able to have money coming in to pay New Balance for the inventory that they already have, now no longer have that inventory. So these companies are really struggling, and they're laying a lot of people off, right? A lot of the companies I mentioned have laid people off, they furloughed people, but they're going to get hit double. And here's where they're going to get hit double. We're losing sales, they're losing sales. But where they're going to get hit double is that when things do start back up, and I'm hopeful it does start back up soon, or at least whenever people feel that it should, whether it's baseball and football, whatever it starts up to be, when it starts back up, those retailers are going to still have the inventory they bought for the spring.
Yeah.
Just like us, we're going to have the inventory that we brought in already that we're going to wanted to have through July, for example. We're going to have that, and so we're not going to be reordering from those companies because we already have the inventory.
Sure.
So the manufacturers are the one that are going to get hit the most. We're losing sales, but no one has not been able to pay us. All of our money that we receive in come from all of our great customers who order online. They use their credit card. We get that money the next day, right? So all the orders that we did get in, no one owes us anything. But the manufacturers not only are owed money, but their sales are going to be prolonged. So the sporting goods industry has been affected. We talked a lot. You heard a lot on the news about airlines. I'm getting a little bit emotional about this because it's been tough.
No, it's all right. You have every right to be.
Cruise lines, okay? You heard it. I mean, just that was the talk the first couple of weeks. Cruise lines, airlines are getting killed, right? And then it became restaurants, right? I know all the restaurants in Louisville were closed up for takeout. But the sporting goods industry has been majorly affected, and sports as well. And it goes all the way down. All the umpires that haven't been able to umpire, right? I mean, all the umpires who, like I said, when I started umpiring, I did it because I need more money for my family, right? Sure. And I know that's the same thing with a lot of people out there right now.
Yeah,
they need money for their family. Whether you're a college umpire, or you're a high school umpire, or a recreational umpire, you're not getting that money you need. And I know that people are worried, and so, and then you've got players, my son is 17. He's a junior in high school, and he's not playing this season, right? It's tough. And so that word just goes all the way down from the sporting goods retailers, the sporting goods manufacturers, sporting goods retailers, including officiating retailers. And I know I've talked to several retailers. I'm friends with several of our competitors, and they're all in the same boat. And then down from there, you've got players, coaches, leagues, and umpires, and referees too, right? Even the other sports that have been canceled too. So it's tough, and I just really hope that we can get back. I mean, I'd love for people to chime in and say, what are your thoughts, about how this has affected you? Because it's not just affected us.
No,
it's affected you too. We've had discussions privately about how it's affected your business. So feel free to share thoughts, and I'll wipe some of these silly tears from my eyes because I don't really cry. I'm not really a crier, but so I'll let you talk for a little bit, and I'll drink my coffee, and maybe a little caffeine will perk me up a little bit.
I really appreciate the way you laid it out there, and that's a lot of times in this industry, people don't get to know a lot of things, and this is such a different time in our life. Like, we went through 9/11 and we adjusted. We got a new norm. Now we're going to have to figure out what that new norm is going to be. Right. But I think there's going to be a lot of manufacturers so heavily leveraged right now, they may not come back. So, and they're big players. And I look at it like this: I'm just a little guy supplying a niche market. But when I decided to, from UmpLife's point of view, I wasn't going to throw the towel in. I was going to develop more product, because I'm going to be there like you are when we all get back to being normal, or what will be the new normal. So I decided to take some of my savings and invest back into UmpLife new products. And
that's a great idea.
If I don't do that, like I've already announced it, the plate code, for example, there's going to be an actual weekend bag, a travel bag. So
I saw that. I just saw that the first time today. It looks great.
Yeah, so I decided that I talked to Sandra and I said, look, I'm gonna punt here and I'm gonna get good field position at the end of this.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think this is
Right.
the right thing to do. I'm not a worrier by nature, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna invest money back into the company and move it forward. And that's a lot of that's been you driving it because we talk a lot. We're
Right.
in this together and you come up with an idea or I give you an idea. What do you think of this? And I take your feedback and I ask lots of people. And I just think for me, the way forward for me is to come up with new ideas. So
Right.
that's what
I
I'm
think that's
going to
great.
do.
And I tell you, that's all I've always said about you is everybody has a strength, right? Every individual has a strength. Every company has a main strength, right? And your main strength is in design. You have these great ideas and this great insight and this great brain that's always working. I know it's working. I know I'll see you posting things in the middle of the night because I know your brain's always working.
Yeah.
And that's your big the thing you bring to the table. And so what we decided to do when all this stuff hit, well, it was kind of interesting. The whole story was really interesting because, and I'm sure people have the similar kind of thoughts, where they started talking about the NCAA tournament was going to be played, without fans. And we thought, okay, that's no big deal. At least they're going to have their games. And then all of a sudden, an NBA player was diagnosed with the coronavirus and they canceled NBA. And we thought, okay, well, all right, well, it's NBA. So as long as they're still going to do college and everything, then that'll be okay. Well, it was literally right after we had that kind of discussion, 2 hours later, there was a decision to push back college baseball in several conferences. And we thought, okay, well, that's getting kind of scary, but at least they're just going to push it back a few weeks and there's still going to be high school ball, right? And so, but then, we'll start, what happened next, right? College ball gets canceled, high schools start closing schools, which means there can't be any sports, of course. And we thought, oh my goodness, what? And this was all, everybody has the same feelings I'm saying. I'm sure everyone understands what I'm saying right now. They feel it the same way. And then we thought, okay, well, as long as, youth leagues and Little League and Pony and Babe Ruth, they're still going to play, and travel ball, they're still going to play. But then, overnight, those are all canceled. And we're like, what the heck? And so we were trying to kind of find out what was going on across the country. And so one thing we found out was we did a survey a couple of days into all of it, and there were still, I think about over 50% of people that still had games scheduled.
Right.
And Silbo is a company, an up and coming company. It's kind of like the Uber for officiating. You can get on there and be scheduled for leagues and things like that. And I talked to the president of Silbo, and it was a Saturday after all this stuff happened. So what is that, around the 16th or 17th? And he said they still had 85% of their games assigned. And so we decided, okay, we know we're going to take a retail hit here. We want to try to stay in business, want to keep our employees employed. And so we worked out a promotion to do a really big, significant sale with Smitty. And that really helped for the first couple of weeks. But then all those games that Silbo had scheduled and all that survey I did, that over 50% of people were still doing games, it was no more. No one had those anymore. And we got a little bit of a blowback of, why are you putting on sales when no one's officiating? Yeah. And it was like, yeah, but there are still people officiating. And we did get a nice response from the sale. It obviously didn't bring us to the point of the sales that we had right before all that happened. But our goal was, to provide an opportunity also for Smitty, again, a manufacturer, right? We talked about this earlier, who is going to get hit worse than this. So it was, we were trying to give as many wins as we could to our manufacturer, to our staff, and also to umpires to get a good deal. And we did that, and we still have that sale going on, by the way. And we will for a while too. Sure. So don't anybody feel pressured in jumping over there and getting anything, because we have plenty of stock, and we're going to keep the sale going on. So when you do end up having money, hopefully we can keep that sale going on for a while. So it was a really interesting transition when all that happened. But our goal was the same thing that you had. We didn't want to stop developing the business. So what we've been doing is we've been working on our website. I don't know if anybody's noticed or not. We haven't talked a lot about it, but we changed our cart page. Our cart page has been redone. It's a lot simpler, a lot easier to use. And we're currently working on some other things with checkout as well. So are we still on there? Something just happened.
Oh, Tommy's just throwing up your cart.
Okay, Tommy. Okay. You can still see me. Yeah. So, so we did the same thing. We're working on our website, which is, you say design is your, big thing. And for us, the website is the big thing, right?
Sure.
So we want to work on that.
Hey, are you ready to change gears?
Hey, I'm here for, you're the interviewer.
Well, no,
you're in
actually,
charge. You talk to me.
our crackpot executive producer has been talking in my ear. He's got tons of questions for us.
Did everybody leave? Is everyone still here? What's the story? I mean, I know, like I said, Greg Gibson was on here last night, and I know that I am not near as interesting or have as many good stories as he has. So hopefully people are still here, right?
So we got 65 people currently watching.
Is that good?
That's good. Greg was at
Okay,
about
good.
77.
Yeah, all right. You guys stay here. Stay.
We
Hey, I
haven't
might
even
give a
got-
gift card. Hey, everybody stay here. I might give a gift card away at the end if Ray will let me.
Sure.
So,
Well,
stay
so-
on. I see some likes.
That brings
All right.
us to our first question. This
Okay.
is from Josh McClurkin. Can we
Okay.
get an Eric Goldschmidt giveaway during the Q&A?
Can we? Well, as you all know, I mean, hopefully you all know that Eric Goldsmith is for his services are for sale at umpattire.com, right? You all know, I see a lot of likes. It looks like we might have someone make a purchase tonight. That's really going to get sales up a lot for us. But
And
he's on there.
I offered to give
If you
back
haven't
my
seen
commission.
that- If you haven't seen that, just go to a search bar and type in Eric, A-R-I-K, or Goldsmith, and you'll find him on there. He's selling his services for $1 million. And so he will umpire any game at all, for the rest of his life, for as long as he lives. And there he is, Eric Goldsmith. So I recall that he had posted on somewhere that he did not know where I got that picture from. And by the way, it was Mitch Levis. Is Mitch on here? Mitch, jump in if you're on here. It was Mitch Levis's suggestion. He's been a big fan of us and big supporter of us, and we really appreciate him.
How about that review though? There's a good review.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's a review on there too. So so we decided to throw him up there for $1 million, and as a joke, because Eric is always everywhere, right? And I think I said somewhere in there where Eric has this uncanny ability to do all this umpiring, but still able to post on social media all at the same time. So he's been around for about as long as I can remember, and we just love Eric, and I hope he's doing well. Is he on here during this time? Maybe he can say something to everyone else and try to get everyone else over to buy him for $1 million.
He said he was going to jump on to that.
We could use that money. We get half of that.
He's actually in here saying he's famous, and his comment in the room, he said, "I'm famous."
Okay,
and he's got a bunch of likes on the comment already.
I think his price needs to get up. I think so. If you all agree, hit the like button, I guess. So yeah, so we try to have a little fun, but I did find he did not know where I found that picture. If you scroll far back enough through his Facebook feed where his photos are, you'll find it. There's a lot of stuff you don't want to see. Don't go back and look at it. I've already shared it with you. Don't go through his photo feed and look. There's a lot of stuff you do not want to see on there. So so just leave it at that. If you want to see Eric Goldsmith, go to our page and look at his picture there wearing an old Wilson helmet, I believe. So
I think in 15 years from now, we should have a new show called Where Are They Now and feature Eric.
Put him on there.
Yeah.
All right. So what other questions have we got time?
All right. So the next question is from Jake Block. What is the most challenging part of running ump attire?
Managing inventory, by far. Managing inventory, it's a beast. We work on it almost all the time, right? So we're gearing up for the season, and we're not sure how many S1E2 V2 replica shirts we're going to sell in all the different sizes. It's the second year we've had those, and we didn't have them at the beginning of the season. So are they going to sell at the beginning of the season, the end of the season? Should we bring a ton in or not a whole lot in? Because you don't want to risk at the end of when the busy season is to have too many of something, right? And so it gets harder every year because we grow every year. We've been fortunate enough to grow about 21% every single year since we've been in business. Now, I said every single year on average. There were a couple of years we were down. I think it was around 14 or 15. But on average, we've grown over 20% a year. And so that means more inventory. I'd bring more inventory in, which means you got to get it right, because if you don't have it, you can't sell it. And if you don't sell it, you don't make any money off of it. And so I really appreciate that question, Jake. That's a great question. But by far, managing inventory levels. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give away the first gift card. Okay. So people have got to comment, right? You have to guess how many SKUs we have. All right. The closest one to guess wins. All right. Now, what a SKU is, you gotta know what a SKU is. SKU is a stock keeping unit. All right. So a small S1E2 V2 black umpire shirt is a SKU. An UmpLife 5-inch wallet is a SKU. An UmpLife 6-inch wallet is a SKU. It's a separate stock keeping unit. And so when you start thinking about SKUs, you've got small through a 3X or 4X, depending on the sport of each shirt, of each color. And you all know there's a ton of umpire colors out there, right? You guys hit the like button if you got a lot of umpire shirt colors out there. I know there's a lot on the market. But and then you got like New Balance, right? Think about New Balance, size what, 7 through 15, D, 2E, 4E, and white in, not white in, right? How many SKUs? I want people to guess, how many SKUs do we have at umpattire.com? And the closest one to it, we'll look back later and see if anybody gets that right, or gets it close to being right. And I'll give them we'll just do a $15 gift card to start out. I'm saving the big one for later though, because we're trying to keep people on till the end.
All right, so that gives us a follow-up question from Terry Banks. When you have a product to sell that you are unable to, are you able to send it back to the manufacturer, or do you have that equipment until it sells?
And that's a really good question. We tend to try to clear out anything that's on closeout. So let's say there's an item that maybe used to sell well and didn't sell that well anymore. We'll just tend to mark it down, and people tend to buy it. And like I said, if we've not overbought too much, we usually can just sell that on our own and without sending it back to the supplier. We try to do win-win with the supplier, right? Because our suppliers love us because we pay on time and we buy a lot and we give them lots of input. And so we don't like to send product back. I can't remember ever doing that before, unless maybe something came in that was defective. But no, we're not able to send any products back, and that's not usually a typical thing to be able to do that. Some companies, if you do send back, they'll charge you like a 20% restocking fee. So if you send 10 grand worth of shoes back, let's say, they're going to charge you 2 grand, for example. And so you don't want that kind of expense. You just better just mark it down. That's a great question, though. Thanks for that, Terry.
All right, we have 2 product questions now. The first one is from Lewis Nickerson, and you may or may not be able to respond to this one.
Okay,
Jim, can you speak to the rumors of a low-profile Westfest?
Ooh, that's a really good question, and I'm really glad that you brought that up, because we work really closely with Wilson over the years. We really appreciate that they of course they've got the major league umpires that give them good input. Guys like Joe West, for example, and Jerry Davis. They're able to give them good input on gear and from a higher level, right? And so considering that most of our market is high school and youth level, and then college is in there too, we have that experience to be able to share what might work for, what we're going to sell. Maybe not what a major league person wears, but maybe someone like a high school umpire, for example. And so they come to us for input. And so we have been talking with Wilson for several years about the need to change to make their chest protector lower profile. There were rumors going around that they were going to have a lower profile chest protector for the spring, and that was simply not true. Not even at all. One thing that happens with the big companies, New Balance, Wilson, example, they give us catalogs in the fall, right? So actually, they usually give us catalogs in the summer before the next season, right? So let's just say, forget all the coronavirus stuff. Let's just say in about a couple of months, New Balance and Wilson would give us new catalogs and say, these are our new products for next year, and you need to go and buy now, right? So usually what happens is we'll put our orders in for the big companies. We call that booking. It's called a booking order. We'll put that in the summer so that we get it before the season starts. So we know what's new, what's going to be new coming out way in advance. It's not usually a surprise thing. Now, Ray's differently. He works differently. He has an idea at 1 a.m. in the morning, and there's a product at 7 a.m. ready to be designed and shared and get input. And next thing you know, he's selling it. But not everybody works as fast as Ray does. Not everyone has a brain like Ray. And so we know way in advance, typically on the big companies like Wilson, about what they're going to be bringing out. And when I saw the rumors on that, I was really disappointed to see that those things were being shared. Because it simply just was not true. Now, we'd love for it to happen. I know this year for Wilson, I'm just going to defend them a little bit, if you'll allow me to, is I know that they were the new NOXI certification for catchers was a big thing, not only for Wilson. If you notice, just kind of think back, guys, and hit the like button if this makes sense to you, that All-Star, Wilson, Champro, all the gear manufacturers, there was nothing new this year, right? Diamond, for example, right? There's nothing new. And it's because they were all working hot and heavy on making sure that all their catcher's gear, at least the chest protectors, were NOXI certified, right? Does that make sense? And so that was, so we kind of knew they were going to push that off and consider that later. And I think with all the things that have happened with the coronavirus, and like I shared with you earlier, those that maybe are, it's just now checking in, I was sharing some of the scary stuff going on with the manufacturers right now and how they've had to lay off people. And I would guess that whatever is probably was in the mix for any of the gear manufacturers is probably going to be put off again for another year at least. So Lewis, thanks so much for that question. Hey, I loved meeting you in Florida, by the way, in January down at minor league baseball training academy, and seeing your awesome digital indicator. And we're looking forward when you get that out and ready to go. We appreciate you letting us give some input on that. I know people, that's been the big buzz. No, quit giving them all away though, because if you give them all away, you're not having to sell, right? No, come on, I see a big thumbs up from Ray there. That's my only advice to you, Lewis. So so how about that? Or you just give us all away for free, and then we'll just sell them and we'll make some money off of them. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do.
So I have something to add on the chest, the low profile thing. I had some MLB umpires phone me and said, "Have you heard about this?" I go, "It's a myth." They like, whoever started that rumor, it just, for some reason, it was just a bad rumor. And Wilson had no intentions of, and like you said, the catalog came out 9 months before this rumor came out, and that's the retail catalog. And even the guys going to spring training, there was nothing this year, low profile, nothing at all. So it's just a bad rumor, and it can take off.
Well, it could happen. You know, it can happen. I think a lot of times people, you know, I've spent a lot of time, and we sponsor Umpire Empire. A lot of you guys maybe do that. Feel free to click like and let me see if you any Umpire Empires guys on here. They're also very positive, just like you guys are at Ump Life, Ray. But I think a lot of times people want to believe what they want to be true, right? Sure. And so when someone, just one person says, "Hey, did y'all hear? Is there going to be a low profile Wilson Gold or Wilson Platinum?" And next thing you know, someone, oh, I think maybe that was the case, and they want to believe it, and the rumors get out. And what's so funny is I see a lot of times people asking those questions: Is Wilson going to come out with a low profile chest protector? And it's like, just send me an email. I'll let you know. I'll tell you. You know, I talked to Wilson, and this is not bragging. It's something that we feel very good about over the years. We've been able to really develop a really great relationship with our manufacturers that manufacture gear, and every one of them, Champro, Diamond, Wilson, and All-Star, they come down. All-Star was a great example. All-Star came down and brought their team down, and we sat and we talked all day long about gear, just all day long. They showed us some ideas they had. They got our input. Everybody talks to us in gear, and also in shoes. New Balance comes down to see us. 3-2 comes down to see us, and we talk about ideas. And I'm always really careful, as you know, Ray. I don't share things that are inside scoop, right? Like if you share something with me that's inside scoop, and you've got this great idea for a new harness or something, harness 3.0, or whatever, you know, all these, you know, great ideas you have. When Wilson comes to see us, I'm not going to say anything about that, you know, and vice versa. You know, if Wilson comes down, they have an idea they're working on, or All-Star's working on, and then you're thinking about working on something, and you know, we just kind of keep it there, just to be fair to our vendors, because we have all this great inside information to there going on that we get from them. So if anybody ever has any questions about what a manufacturer is going to do, especially on umpire gear, all you got to do is ask me, and I'll tell you whether it's going to happen or not.
Sure.
And so yeah, the rumors aren't good. You know, especially I know early on for us, that rumor was going around hot and heavy, and we, you know, our sales of Wilson went down because people were thinking that was coming out. And why would I buy the gold or platinum now if that's going to be coming out? And wait, and so that's you know, that's the kind of stuff happens. But you know, hey, this segment's called Gotta Ask, right? So hey, all you gotta do is gotta ask me, right? Or someone ask me, Ray can ask me, I'll tell you. So hopefully that answers your
all right,
question.
we got another question from Michael Stringer. Is the Wilson American flag mask that the MLB umpires wear going to be available to the public? He's a veteran of the U.S. military, and he thinks it'd be a great way to represent the country.
Well, I agree too, and thank you so much for your service.
Yes, sir.
We had that flag mask for a while last year. We were able to get, I think, about 24 or 30 or so of those to resell them, And I know that there was, Wilson was looking to have that flag mask some more made again. And the MLB guys were going to wear it for Memorial Day at the end of May. And we had the opportunity to buy some and get some. And we decided at that time not to buy any more. But yet now you see what's happened. Wilson is not shipping anything. We're not having MLB. So I don't even know. There's a possibility that there may be some of those available from Wilson, maybe at a later date, but it's probably not going to be this year with everything that's going on. But now that's a great looking mask. We were fortunate enough to get an exclusive on the camo mask and on the patriotic mask. Stars and Stripes is what we call what you're referring to there last year. And this year, I think just with everything that's going on, we kind of don't know whether or not that might be available. We're not going to be carrying that if it ever does get available in this year. Next year, who knows? But with everything that's going on, it's kind of threw some things up in the air. But that's a great question. Thanks for asking that. Again, thank you so much for your service.
Okay, and I got the last question, I think, of the night because we're coming up on 8 o'clock.
Yep.
This is from Paul McDougall. Are 3 and 2 and New Balance going to continue to be the only shoe suppliers? Is Mizuno going to be supplying is Mizuno eventually going to be supplying umpires in North America?
Oh, that's a good question. I know that I've spent time talking to Mizuno over the years, and they are very particular about not selling any umpire gear at all in North America. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. But the answer to that, I know it's getting kind of late, so I'll just quickly answer no, that's not going to be the case. New Balance is, as far as I know, was going to be the official supplier of the shoes. I know there's a lot of talk about whether Nike was going to have a shoe or not. No, Nike was going to be the logo on the shirt emblem, and just because Nike has the shirt doesn't mean Nike's going to do the shoes. And as I understand it, New Balance was going to continue to be the supplier of Major League Baseball. There was a little bit of a hiccup there because their contract got pushed late, and so that's why a lot of the shoes that have come in recently have been without the logo on it. But as far as the last I heard is that New Balance is still the supplier of MLB umpires for shoes, plate shoes and base shoes. So I hope that answers your question.
So Jim, obviously we're running late. You want to talk about Umps Care Charity and what it means to umpire?
Well, Umps Care Charity means a lot to us because a lot of the charity work that we do means a lot to us. We always really believe in giving back. And I just think that's whatever business that you're in, you should try to give back to the community. And it's not just we try to, we're always known for our great service, and that's something we do on a daily basis, but it needs to be more than that. It needs to be more than just a great website and great products and great service. You need to give back. And I tell you what, Umps Care Charities, with what they've done, I've been with them from the start. They started out just doing the ticket programs at the games, and they were called Blue for Kids. And a man named Samuel Dirth was the executive director of that. And he and I ran into each other at a NASO summit, and I think it was in 2010. And we have been involved with them for now around 10 years, and we've supported them every year. It's a no-brainer. It's Major League umpires. I don't know why a lot of our other competitors don't jump in and donate and sponsor and give some money to Umps Care. We donate money to them every year, especially for their golf classic. And what I've really noticed that they've done over the years, I served on their board for several years. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years, and they just have developed into a world-class charity, right? I think they won an award recently for I think it's like 92% of the money they get goes back to somebody, right? And that's unusual for a charity, right? Some of these big charities, humongous charities you might see out there, they spend a lot of money on marketing and a lot of overhead, and it may only be 8-10% of the money that you actually give to them goes toward charity, to the actual, front lines. And so Umps Care has really done a great job of streamlining their organization and doing lots of great things for lots of great people. And they're continuing to grow. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the more things out of them. But it's a no-brainer for us to be involved with them. They do things we can't do. I can't go to a Major League field and take kids on the field. I can't do that. I can't meet. We've done some hospital visits, but nobody cares about me as a gear and apparel supplier. I'll give a teddy bear to a Major League umpire, and they'll go in and talk to to the kids. I can't do that. And so it's a no-brainer for us to be involved with that and some of the other charities we're involved in. So
that's fantastic. I want to thank you for doing this, Jim. It means a lot to me.
Is everybody still here? Yeah, we still got people here. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to put a comment at the end. I'll give I'll give two $25 gift cards away. I'll just pick somebody at random. I may pick the person who commented the most. So if you haven't commented yet, you should go ahead and comment. Give me a thumbs up, whether you liked it, whether you liked tonight's interview, or down that you didn't. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Or is there one like that somewhere? I would say it was about, hopefully people at least thought that much.
Since I'm an admin and I've responded to a lot of people, can I lock the comments and you count mine?
No, you are not eligible.
I don't think you can do that.
Elbeco shirt. I mean, you've got the Elbeco shirt. You've got everything you need, right? So you're set, Tommy.
So look, here's the deal. I got to thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I think it's good for people to get to know the man instead of the guy at Umpire. And I think that you came across really well. And I'm going to make a donation to Umpscare Charity tonight.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
All right. So
thank you so much for
thanks
that.
for doing this.
Absolutely.
It was really good, Jim.
I appreciate it. Hey, everyone who was here, everyone who stayed here, thanks for listening to me. I know, again, I'm not Greg Gibson. Go back, if you haven't seen him, go back and watch that video too. Watch Jansen Visconti. I hadn't really spent a whole lot of time with him, even though, he's a minor league umpire. And we're the official supplier of minor league. But I got to spend some time with him playing golf at Top Golf with Umpscare Charities. What a great guy. That's going to be a great interview. It's going to be awesome. If you did like tonight's interview, you're going to love Jansen's interview. So make sure that you get back on for that as well.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Ray. Thank you so much. Hey, and everybody stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Everybody keep their heads up. At umpire.com, we're all keeping our heads up. Our staff, they're awesome. I love them. And so you guys keep your heads up. We're going to get through this.
All right, Jimmy.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's broadcast of Gotta Ask, featuring guest Jim Kirk, the president of umpire.com. Please join us again on April 22nd at 7 p.m. when our guest will be professional baseball umpire Jansen Visconti. Have a good evening, and may you and your family be safe and healthy.